Cosmos, the goddess of harmony. Chaos, god of discord. Long has the world played stage to their violent conflict. Now at peace, now teetering on the verge of annihilation. But never for a moment striking a balance between the two. The scars of war run deep across the realm, and still these battles rage on, a tempest the eons cannot quell. However,
So, just how long can the Final Fantasy franchise exist? Well, after losing count about, 73 games ago, I've come to the conclusion that the answer is forever. So, like asking how long can a Mario franchise exist? Especially if they continue to put out titles like this one. Guys, this is Jeremy with the Classic Elite Podcast Review Team, and today I'm going to immerse myself in Dissidia 012 Duodecim, Final Fantasy. This is one of those titles you just don't forget because it took you forever to remember it in the first place. Before I get started, I want to congratulate my boys at Classic Elite for reaching number 50 on their podcast. Good feat, guys. You guys should definitely go to www.classicelite.com and check it out. There's some good interviews. They really did a good job with this episode, and they should be proud of it. On to the game, guys. Dissidia is an RPG fighting hybrid game developed and published by Square Enix. The story is set before the first Dissidia game, with our characters caught in the battle between Cosmos, which is good, and Chaos, which is bad. The group as a whole is trying to find a way out of the fight so that they can get back to their respective worlds. This game takes what was great from the first Dissidia and promises more on top of it, and they deliver with it. You've got new characters, new game modes, party battles, and a new overworld system for traversing between fights, which adds a lot of depth and time consumption to the title. Before we get into the gameplay, I want to talk a little about the story. It's confusing and it's convoluted, and at least I feel it really didn't add much to the game, except for some beautiful cutscenes. From reading some other reviews, it seems like we're all in agreement on this. I guess it kind of gives you a reason for what you're doing, but it's just a background thought, really. The dialogue often drones on kind of aimlessly and limits each character to one specific trait. You know, the sarcastic one, the funny one, the slacker one, etc. One good thing the story does, though, is it switches between different characters, which keeps the battles nice and fresh. Okay, on to the gameplay. First, suffice to say that there's an insane amount of information in this game, along with stuff to do. If you're not familiar with the series, the learning curve can be kind of steep, so I'm just going to hit the highlights. It remains largely the same as the original Dissidia. However, as mentioned earlier, there's the new overworld to explore, which I really enjoyed. It's full of treasures to find, mannequins to randomly fight, and your teammates to converse with. Battles are still done on the grid system from the first game, but you navigate to those grid systems in the overworld, which look like jelly-filled archways. Love jelly donuts. Once you jump into one of these archways, you then have to navigate to that grid square by square and fight the bad dudes in your way to get the treasures you want and to finish the level. D12, that's what I'm going to call it, D12D, has added more characters to the roster, like fan favorites Lightning and Yuna, but also some lesser knowns like Kane Highwind for those hardcore fans. Each character has their own unique fighting style and moves, and for the most part they're pretty evenly balanced, but as you start to level up, some of them start to show their strengths and weaknesses above the others. Actual battles are a thing of beauty, with the characters just bouncing around the environments, sliding across beams of light, and performing mid-air dancing with the stars moves of a battle at times. A better camera probably would have helped this out a little bit, because there were a couple times I was getting thrown across the screen and I had no idea where the attack came from. There are two types of attacks. You have your HP, hit attacks, and your bravery. Bravery attacks build your own bravery and make your HP attacks stronger. Be warned, this is not a button masher game. You must pick your spots and time your attacks for you to be successful. A new addition is the assist character attack. This calls in your buddy to deal a little damage, or they just might flat out miss, but they do distract your opponent so you can come in and get some of your own shots in. Thankfully, the game prompts you to let you know when things like this are available, or I would have paid attention to it, because they go based on your bar at the bottom. As it fills up, things become available. EX attacks are back and are harder to pull off and take some practice, actually. But as you get through them, you not only destroy your opponent, but you'll also witness the true beauty that is a Final Fantasy game. These magic summons are also back and can be performed as well. These are beautiful and can often turn the tide on the battlefield. After picking up all the pieces of candy left over after your fights, like James Woods picking up candy in Family Guy, you end up with strong fighters that can literally own any battlefield, and it's a thing of beauty to watch, really. Although it takes some time to show its face, the new party battle adds an element of freedom to the game by allowing you to use multiple players on the same grid. You control an entire team in these fights. Now, you can choose to fight as a different character each round, or you can just fight as the same character until you get beat, and then you can move on to the next character. There's also a create your own adventure mode where you do just that. You pick the areas and the fights, and you take your team through what you pick for them to do. A thing that I thought was interesting is the game follows you on the PSP internal calendar and gives you certain incentives on different days. You might get double gil or more points to spend on certain days. So it kind of gives you an incentive to pick it up and actually play the game to see what extra perks you might get. Graphically, one word. Super duper extremely awesome. That's one word. Final Fantasy has always been a graphical juggernaut. I mean, I remember the movies that came out and my jaw just dropped. I can't say that it's the best on the PSP necessarily, because many other games have caught up. God of War. So Final Fantasy can't bank on just being pretty. But this doesn't let you down. The battles, the summons, the cutscenes, all very well done and sights to behold on the PSP. Hang out in the overworld and you get a chance to listen to the wonderful soundtrack, which is just basically a remix of all your favorite Final Fantasy tunes. Not even Dr. Dre could have mixed this better, but I do expect Puffy to sample it at some point. You know he's going to. Voice acting is very good, regardless of the quality of the dialogue. Battle sounds are excellent, and with the music made each fight an epic battle for me, even if I was getting pounded, which I did quite a bit. Overall, I've never had the fortune of being a Final Fantasy fanboy. I never had access to it growing up, so this is one of my few experiences with the series. Rip on me at will. But this game alone actually wants me to pick up the other Final Fantasies to play those games and experience the Dissidia characters in the original story. Final Fantasy fans should definitely pick this up. Fighting fans will like it too, but you'll have to be patient for gratitude. It's not instant. Good things come to those who wait, right?
How can it end like this?